Jason Robert Brown was born on June 20th, 1970, and is still working today. He is from Ossining, New York. He went to college at Eastman School of Music in Rockdale, New York. Significant others he's had are Teresa O'Neill and Georgia Stitt, which I'll come back to later. And I haven't found any notable relatives. If I'm missing something, you can yell at me for it. Jason Robert Brown is a seasoned veteran of the Great White Way. He's been working on Broadway shows since May of 1993 and is still making beautiful pieces of art today. And here are some of his most significant pieces of work. His first piece of work that I can find was as a rehearsal pianist for The Kiss of the Spider-Woman, a run lasting from May 3rd, 1993 to July 1st, 1995. It is based on the novel El Beso de la Mujer Araña, which tells the story of an Argentine revolutionary who's thrown in a prison cell with a gay man jailed on a morals charge who escapes from the terrifying reality of prison life into fantasy. Critically, it was very well received by audiences, but I have seen a few very negative reviews here and there, but that might just be anomalies. And it is worth mentioning that in 2023, it was announced that Jennifer Lopez is attached to star in the screen adaptation of this play, directed by Bill Condon, who also did the Dreamgirls movie. So be on the lookout for that. His next notable piece is probably one of my favorite musicals, Parade, a run lasting from December 17, 1998 to February 28, 1999. He was both composer and lyricist, and this is an original piece based on the true historical events of the 1913 trial and imprisonment and the 1915 lynching of Jewish American Leo Frank in Georgia. Critical response was predominantly positive. Some reviews cited here and there small problems, but overall, it was pretty much beloved. Now on to what might be his most popular work, The Last 5 Years. I couldn't find much on how long the run was because it was in Chicago first and then off-Broadway. But in Chicago, it started May 23rd in 2001 and then premiered off-Broadway in 2002. Pretty much the entire show was written by Jason Robert Brown, from the book to the music to the composition to the lyrics. The musical is actually based on Jason Robert Brown's own divorce with Teresa O'Neill. The story explores a 5-year relationship between Jamie Wellerstein, a rising novelist, and Kathy Hiatt, a struggling actress, as they go through their tumultuous relationship, told in opposite directions. The reviews were very positive. Something else I wanted to mention about this musical is that The Last 5 Years was inspired by Brown's failed marriage to Teresa O'Neill. O'Neill later sued Brown on the grounds that the story of the musical violated their non-disparagement and non-disclosure agreements within their divorce decree by representing her relationship with Brown too closely. Brown, in turn, sued O'Neill for interfering with his creative work and his creative process. As part of the legal settlement for both suits, Brown removed all references to the character being Irish Catholic and changed the song "I Could Be in Love with Someone Like You" to "Shiksa Goddess." The more you know. Next up is Urban Cowboy, which went from March 27, 2003 to May 18, 2003. The music was arranged and composed by Jason Robert Brown, as well as collaborator Jeff Blumenkratz. This musical was based on the 1980 film, as well as from a magazine article about Texas nightlife, which focuses on Bud Davis, a country boy who moves to the big city for an oil refinery job and begins spending his nights at Gilley's, the local honky-tonk where he soon meets the love of his life, cowgirl Sissy. This musical was not appreciated. The unfavorable reviews described it as vulgar and bland, and assembled according to a low and specific assessment of audience expectations, filled with songs, quote, used haphazardly and devoid of dramatic value. So it's safe to say that they loved it. 13, running from October 5th, 2008 to January 4th, 2009. Jason Robert Brown created the music and lyrics for this, and is a completely original work. Evan Goldman attempts to get the coolest kids at his school to come to his bar mitzvah. Or else, how is he going to survive the school year? The reviews weren't as favorable as hoped, and consistently referred to 13 as a musical that is directed towards the audience age group in the title. Similar reviews were cited for the 2022 film adaptation from Netflix that wasn't received positively. I read one review that stated, 13 follows a Broadway trend of terrible movie adaptations. Next is The Bridges of Madison County, which ran from February 20th, 2014 to May 18th, 2014. Jason Robert Brown did both music and lyrics. This musical was based on Robert James Waller's 1992 best-selling novel about a forbidden love affair between a photographer and a housewife that changes them forever. According to Playbill, the critical reviews were divided. Although the musical had admirers who responded to Brown's score that mixed folk, country, pop, and operatic passages, it failed to ignite wide audience appeal at the box office. His next work was Honeymoon in Vegas, which ran from January 15, 2015 to April 5, 2015, which Jason Robert Brown did the music and lyrics for, but also did vocal arrangement, dance arrangements, and orchestrated the music. The story is of a man with an extraordinary fear of marriage finally builds up the nerve to ask his girlfriend to marry him in Las Vegas, but a smooth-talking gambler gets between them in this comedic romp. The musical is based on the 1992 movie of the same name, which Bergman, who wrote the book, also wrote and directed. Overall, the reviews were mixed, most seeing the potential with the idea, but still leaving the theater unsatisfied or even disappointed. Now on to Mr. Saturday Night, going from April 27, 2022 to September 4th, 2022. Jason Robert Brown did the music, orchestrations, and arrangements for this one as well, and was based on the 1992 film. The movie and the musical starred Billy Crystal and David Paymer returning to perform their original roles from the movie. The story is Buddy Young Jr., an outrageous and outspoken comedian who has only one last shot left at reclaiming the spotlight, attempts to go for glory and fix his fractured family in one hilarious step at a time. The show was met with positive reviews from critics, particularly for Crystal's lively performance. And we come to his most recent production, a revival of the original Parade, which ran from March 16, 2023 to August 6, 2023. The revival received mostly positive reviews, particularly for Jason Robert Brown's music, as well as Benjamin Platt, the leading performer's most heart-wrenching work. And those are Jason Robert Brown's significant works, but let's move on to his significant collaborations. Jason Robert Brown has worked with some of the biggest names on Broadway in front and behind the scenes. Harold Prince, Robert Ashford, Alfred Ury, Michael Arden, Tony Danza, Rob McClure, Kelly O'Hara, Bryn O'Malley, Jeremy Jordan, Ben Platt, Billy Crystal, David Paymer, Michaela Diamond. In the first iteration of Parade, Jason Robert Brown worked with his future wife, Georgia Stitt, when she emailed him about working for the music staff on the show. In terms of awards, Jason Robert Brown has been nominated for 5 Tonys and won 3. The 3 that he won for was Parade for Best Original Score, and The Bridges of Madison County for Best Original Score and Orchestrations. On top of that, he's won countless Drama Desk awards. The common themes that I can find between his shows, a majority of his work has been adapting movies and books into live productions, and if not that, real stories. A major theme that happens with most entertainment, but specifically with Jason Robert Brown, is his music relates a lot with love, but particularly the difficulties with love. In short, Jason Robert Brown is one of Broadway's biggest creators to date, and he's still going strong today. Thank you for listening to my presentation.